Very often when you have a problem, like for example, the Jackson water crisis that we're still in, people listen to experts, but they don't often listen to the people that have to live with those problems every day and have some real sense of how to deal with them. And so what we create is the capacity to come to the table where both business and political leaders realize that the people that are speaking are not speaking for someone else. They're not being advocates. They are advocating for themselves and their own community.
Women need and are important to the state's economy.
There was a time when workers took on the largest employer in the state of Mississippi. There was a time when parents went to the state capitol and said, "We're demanding child care." And the workers rose up and went to City Hall and raised issues concerning housing and conditions that are so substandard and so unfit for human beings to live in. These are some of the issues that they've been able to raise in their community organizations.
So that's community power, where you're able to now sit at the table and you're able to understand how these bills become a law, right? Or you are exercising your right to go to the polls, in that you are now bringing a cadre of leaders with you, because you've been educating them at the church, you've been educating them in the libraries, educating them in the schools, and bringing more people to that table so that they can vote and that they can then hold their elected officials accountable.
All citizens already have a voice. They already have power. They just need to understand how to use it and what it means. And we help them to understand those voices by helping them to understand and where policies began, and that a lot of that rests in the history of the civil rights movement, especially around voting rights and public education and economic justice and worker justice. And once they understand where some of those historical fights started, then they start to understand their power.
You can't understand how to serve a community's needs unless they're part of the decision making.
Community power is something that the community have to say over where they live, what they need to do in order for them to live equitably and healthy as well. So we really want to focus on that and making sure that our community understand what they can do as a whole in order for them to lift up those needs.
We can do change in little bits, but without having people in place with the power to make changes, it's going to be a long, hard road.
So community power here in Mississippi looks like this. It looks like when the water crises happened here in Jackson, Mississippi, the community saved community. We rallied together and we bought water for our neighbors. We cooked food for one another. We did our own community videos and they went viral, and so national news began to pay attention to what was happening here in community. That's community power, because we elevated that issue.
I want people to know that Mississippi is fighting for herself. Mississippi has always fought for herself, and we're getting stronger.
We just want to be treated fairly, that's all.
No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
William Faulkner said that if you want to deal with the problems of the country or the problems of the world, you got to first deal with a place like Mississippi. And so the work that we are doing, and we've done in Jackson and we're now expanding around the state, is to get people to dealing with each other, not just having conversations about race, but having conversations about what are the things that matter to their families, what are the things that matter to their communities.
We're not nearly where we need to be, and we're not nearly where we're going to go, but we're close and we're getting there. We've made so much progress. We want people to live freely, not just to live it, but to live in bliss. That is our goal. And not just to have a world where you see it, but you feel it. No matter what you look like, no matter where you're from, no matter who you love. That is what we're about. And the way that we do that is by designing power and innovation, innovating civil and human rights to make sure that people have the tools that they need to create the change that they want.
It's about facilitating community power that's already there, community agency that's already there. And it's important to me that, at least for us as advocates, we make really, 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 really sure that we are letting them lead for real. And that sometimes means not doing what you thought you were going to do. It means stopping and sitting on your hands and saying, okay, I'm going to wait. And that, I think, is community power too, because it's stopping us from getting in their way.
Every single piece of organizing starts with trust. You have to have the community's trust. You have to have individuals in the community know that they can call you, know if they call you, that what they tell you will stay with you, knowing that if they ask you to do something that you're going to deliver and you're not just going to turn your back on them.
The people of the community will have an opportunity to impact change. Maybe the resources or the support comes external, but the power lies within the community.
Our goal is to work ourselves out of the job, making sure community is empowered, be self-sufficient. So my aspiration in the next 5 to 10 years is that we have equitable share of resources across not just a certain ethnic group, but across the board, regardless of your ethnic background.